Hello, I'm Bill Pollock, sports director at MissouriNet.com. Gary Pinkel has suspended quarterback Maty Mauk and offensive lineman Malik Quaylar for Saturday's game against South Carolina for what the athletic department is saying is disciplinary reasons related to a violation of team policies. That's all they say. That's all they ever say. And their status will be determined after this game. How interesting. But what this does is open the door for Gary Pinkel to make a change at quarterback without really causing a controversy. Now, look, Pinkel is the type of coach, and I think all coaches are like this. They're not going to make changes based on public opinion, but I've heard it a lot from you on Twitter. We may have had discussions and arguments. I talk to people at work who ask me all the time, and talk to friends and just people out and about who say, why isn't Drew Lock getting more of a chance than just one or maybe two series a game? And I say, quite simply, it's because Mauk is the better quarterback. I mean, when you look at it on paper, the stats are pretty much equal. You say, well, all right, we'll give Lock an opportunity to do a little bit more. But there's some implications behind doing that. Let me go through the stats real quick. Maty Mauk is throwing 52% completion rating. That's not very good. But I think there's other factors that are involved. Lock, in a limited amount of time, 15 of 25, that's 60%, so it's slightly better. Mauk has thrown 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, should be 5 in the Kentucky game, the one that went back for a pick 6 that was called back because of the pass interference. But he's also averaging 4 yards per carry, running the ball 36 times. And this is with an offense that is just not Maty Mauk's issue. The offensive line has problems, and I think that's a Coach A.J. Ricker issue, which is for a whole nother topic. The run game, the running backs behind Russell Hansbrough have not been performing at a high level. Ishwitter not performing the way I think many would have thought he would. And Hansbrough being hurt is a big blow to that run game. So you've got run blocking issues. You have a running back situation that is not 100%. And so you have defenses that are saying, okay, well, you're not going to be able to run the ball, so go ahead and try to pass against us. Now you've got some guys who are dropping passes. And look, listen, Mauk is not playing well, but he has made some good plays, and so has Drew Lock. But what has Lock done that has said to you, yes, he should be the full-time starter or getting more opportunities? He led on his first drive, he led a field goal against SEMO, later threw a touchdown pass on blown coverage. He had an interception against Arkansas State. You could say, well, listen, it was in the receiver's hands. He should have caught it, but maybe should have put a little more touch on the ball. Underthrew a receiver at the Kentucky game that would have been a touchdown, had an opportunity, drove him down the field, made nice throws, but in an opportunity when they needed a touchdown, Lock didn't come through with the pass either. So he's doing the exact same things that Mauk is doing. Then, on a third down play, took a bad sack that knocked them out of field goal range. So on paper, watching them on the eye test, to me, Lock isn't really outplaying Mauk. And I know it's a smaller sample, but there's other issues besides the quarterback position. But what is it about Lock that has us all intrigued? And that's the question. Listen, I'm not a quarterback expert, but I've seen it, you've seen it. His throws, his passes are crisp. He's got zip on the ball. He stays in the pocket. He doesn't look panicked, right? He looks like he's in control. Those are the things that we see and say, hey, give him more of a chance. And I bet the Mizzou coaches see it. Of course they see it. They made him the backup quarterback. But here's the difference between Gary Pinkel and, say, someone like South Carolina's Steve Spurrier, where Spurrier constantly has a coaching carousel coming in there. In fact, his third starting quarterback will be playing in this game against Mizzou, and he's a true freshman. If you're a recruit, if you were a kid like Drew Lock growing up, or you're somebody now that's in high school, and you say, you know what, I'm a good quarterback, I might want to play at Mizzou. If you see the quarterback who is 17-5 as a starter, won you an SEC Eastern Division championship, and won a bowl game, and now you're benched because there's other issues going on with your offense, does that make you want to say, I don't know if I want to go play for Gary Pinkel. I don't know if I want to go to a quarterback who, as soon as things get bad with the offense, they're ready to yank the quarterback and give it to somebody else. Do I want to invest my college time going to a coach who's going to do that? And I think that's why Spurrier might have trouble recruiting quarterbacks, because they're constantly changing. So how does Pinkel get around this? Well, I'm not saying by any means that he made up this suspension. That's not what I'm getting at all. But what was Mauk suspended for? They're not going to tell us. But you could clear up a lot of the haziness or uncertainty behind this suspension, other than for me to say, you know what, this is just to give a Locke an opportunity to see if he can have the starting job, to see if he is a better player than Mauk on a consistent basis. So what's going to happen is the university says, we'll reevaluate this suspension after the game and decide whether or not we're going to reinstate Cuellar and Mauk. But Locke is going to go up against a South Carolina defense that is Swiss cheese, against another freshman making a start, not a lot of experience. There's an opportunity here for Drew Lock to look really good. And if he looks really good, then Gary Pinkel can say suspension is lifted, but we're going to go with the hot-handed quarterback. And you can't fault him, and you can't say, well, there's a quarterback controversy. The evidence is right there. Public opinion will be in Gary Pinkel's favor. If Locke plays marginal and you say, you know what, maybe he is a little better than Mauk, well, he can always extend that Mauk suspension another game and give Locke a chance against Florida. If Locke completely bombs, then the suspension will be lifted, Mauk will be back in there, and Pinkel is basically showing donors and alumni and fans, look, you wanted Locke, we wanted to see what he could do. He's not ready. He's not the best guy. You can tell there's other issues with the offense. Mauk is our starter. So that's what this suspension does, is it gives Pinkel an opportunity to evaluate a freshman quarterback and, if need to, make a change at quarterback without creating the controversy and make it look like he's the bad guy in this situation. So we're going to see how Locke plays, and then we'll see how the university and how Coach Pinkel want to move forward. Listen, Coach Pinkel can say he's a disciplinarian, he's a father-like figure, Mizzou Made is like a family, but first and foremost, Gary Pinkel is a football coach, and Gary Pinkel is evaluated on wins and losses, and this is the best way for him to see how his team is going to be better. It works out good for him that he's going to get Locke a lot of opportunities against South Carolina, and we're going to get a clearer picture of what this quarterback situation is like. You can hit me up on Twitter at Missouri Sports, and of course follow our coverage at MissouriNet.com. I'm Bill Pollack. Thanks for watching.